We had a lot of fun on today's episode. We're about to have a lot of fun on today's episode. I talked you guys into playing a little game with me. And as the game master, or the quiz master, as Peter might call it, we were able to have, we did a blind ranking game. I gave you 5 stories about breaches that we've covered in the past 3 years that we've been on the air almost. And you guys ranked them blind from 1 to 5. It was a lot of fun. I think the results were a little surprising.
Well, if anybody knows Mike at all, you may not be surprised to hear that he did twist the stories that he gave us, slightly skewed them towards.
There was a little strategy behind the story selection. Sure, I'll admit to that.
A little bit. Okay.
Oh, John, I think you're muted. You're muted, John.
Oh, great intro.
Welcome to the internet.
Thanks. Yeah.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah. What year is it? All I'm saying is Mike kind of gave himself one story, but all in all, it was very unbiased. It was a lot of fun. Tune in. You'll definitely enjoy it.
Welcome to the Not So Critical Update, the game show.
Yes, the game show.
Your host tonight.
Go ahead, Peter. Tell me
when you're the host.
Mike Sutton.
Thanks for joining, everybody. We got a fun game on the calendar tonight. Our 2 guests, 2 contestants, Peter and John, are going to be playing the game with us. Let me explain the rules. Peter's heard these rules before. This is John's first time hearing them because he wasn't paying attention the first time I went through them. Fine, whatever. So basically, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you 2 guys the 5 stories about breaches that we have discussed on this show over the past almost, I think, 3 years since we started. It's really kind of crazy. Yeah. We've done many more breach stories than that. You don't know which 5 I've picked. And I'm going to give you the stories. You're going to have to rank the stories in order, 1 to 5, about what you think the best story is. Not the worst breach or, just what is the best story by whatever criteria you want to use. But the hitch is you're not going to know what the following stories are after I give them to you. So I could give you a story and you say, man, that's number 1. But if you use that number 1 slot, you don't know what's going to come after that. Maybe you wish you left that top spot open.
This could go terribly.
It's going to go awesome. I have 5 stories, and then I have a couple bonus stories that I won't grade, but I'll throw them in as we go. Do you guys have any questions about the rules?
No.
Can we just run it? Okay, I'm kidding.
Can we go through that one more time? One more time?
Yeah. Genuinely, for anybody who's watching, Mike has just explained all of that before we started recording, and John was like, "Oh, sorry, I got a message. Can you start again?
Can you just say that again?" Yeah, I'd love to, John. Yeah. Sure, let's. To which I replied, "Fuck it, let's do it live," because that's how we roll.
That's
all
what
right,
I live for,
here we are.
So, here's the first story. In December of 2021, our very own Peter Lowe predicted there would be a massive breach of one of the major password managers in August of 2022, and then again in December, thanks to an unpatched Plex server, one of its engineers, Peter got his wish. John and Peter, where does the LastPass breach story rank on this list of 1 to 5?
I see what Peter's doing. I'm also getting my notepad out. So,
do we have buzzers?
No, you two discuss the merits of the case and just come to consensus.
I'm very worried.
Oh, consensus. Here. Okay, so me and Peter have to agree on something. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, Peter, you're going to take notes.
I'll keep track. I'll keep track.
Okay, cool.
You two are the contestants. I'll host. You just figure out how you want to embarrass yourselves.
Right off the bat, I think that LastPass falls on a soft 3.
What? Are you joking? My instinct is it's such a horrendously bad fuck up by a security company that 4 at least.
Okay. Now, 1 is the best story.
Wait.
1 is the best story. 5 is the lowest story.
Exactly.
Oh, best.
So you mean 2, right? You mean 2.
Yeah. Okay. 2.
Okay.
But the thing is,
yeah.
And putting this in context, Mike is such a sneaky little shit that I think that he probably lined up some much worse things for us. So
he's got bangers, okay?
Yeah,
I'm telling you
right
right
know
now.
all the stories we've talked about. You can,
and I've ran through a couple in my mind that are so much juicier
okay.
all right.
than LastPass.
So what are we
I
thinking?
think LastPass on a 3, Peter, because it was a huge deal, right? It's actually the biggest password manager. Was the biggest password manager, I'm pretty sure, by like users, and that's humongous. But there are so many better breaches out there.
Okay,
I have to commit. Yeah, let's commit to 3. Okay,
John wants to play it safe. All right.
Okay, go 3.
Cool.
All right.
Yep.
I would actually even have just committed to 4, but
Wow, you want to leave plenty of room at the top. You're giving me a lot of credit. All right, our second story. Referenced earlier in the week, John and I both predicted the demise of this streaming company, streaming service provider, in 2021. We are almost, but not quite ready to admit that the Amazon-owned streaming service provider, Twitch, may survive the incident, reluctantly. John, what do you have to say for yourself now?
Yeah, I mean, huge fumble on my prediction. I thought Twitch wasn't going to last a year. In my head, thought Twitch was fucking dead within a month.
Agreed. I was there.
There was no way that Twitch was going to survive a full source code leak.
Yep.
And the after effects, right? There were aftershocks to this hack where people were discovering new exploits in the code and using them live, changing pictures. Oh my God, it was so good.
It's not
didn't matter.
To be honest, it's not an unreasonable prediction. I have to gloat here because I was right. That sometimes happens.
So how do I
have to gloat? But sure.
but right, how do we rank it?
How do we rank this story? You've already used the number 3 spot.
If you asked me the day that I found out, it would have been a 1. Today, it's either a 4 or a 5.
Wow.
Well, nothing happened. Exactly. Right? Ultimately, basically a 5.
Insane.
Yeah.
But we can even. I'd go with a 5, Peter.
Yeah. Okay.
Twitch is the number 5 story.
Twitch is 5.
Yep.
All right. Twitch breach is the number 5 story. I guess we'll see if you guys have painted yourself into a corner that you're fully committed. To one of the extremes. All right. Third story on the roster, to be ranked. On August 16th of 2021, Vice reported that the data compromise of 100 million customers was confirmed by T-Mobile. As we discussed a couple weeks ago, this was just one of many and not the last breach of the telecom giant. Peter and John, what say you?
A clarification, please, host. Is this specifically that individual breach or collectively all of
I'm taking it up from the story that we talked about on that episode. You can interpret it however you want. This is for you and John to negotiate.
Not T-Mobile. That, I mean, it's 100 million people. That's a lot.
It is 100 million people. They did get...
And it was just one in a series of breaches.
They did get free enhanced credit reports.
That's a good point.
Per year.
There's that. There is always that. Literally.
Yes, 100 million to start. I'm pretty sure it ended up being more. I don't remember.
But it wasn't passwords, right?
What? I believe it was like names, maybe emails, maybe
it was like
phone
customer
numbers.
records, I think.
It was just like customer. Oh, then maybe that.
And then there was a group that were like credit card, like 36,000 or something. That was a smaller group of credit include payment information or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Right.
I think T-Mobile is a drop in the bucket of breaches, to be honest.
Really?
I actually think it's just yet another company who doesn't give a fuck. And we just talked about this a month or so ago, right? Because they got breached again. And
yeah, and nobody doesn't seem to have affected them as a company.
It doesn't matter. It just
they certainly haven't upped their security game.
They bought Mint Mobile just now for like $1.5 billion or something. Like they just don't give a shit, and customers don't give a shit. They're like, oh, I get unlimited.
All right. So what are we thinking?
And because we know that they didn't change their security posture because of all the other breaches afterwards, I put it at 4.
I would also commit to a 4.
T-Mobile number 4. All right. So far, you're kind of bottom loading these. You're banking on 1 and 2 pretty heavily. You've got in the number 3 spot, LastPass, the number 4 spot, T-Mobile, bringing up the rear Twitch. You still have the number 1 and 2 stories yet to be named. Let's see what's next on the list.
Are you allowed to vape on game shows? But go on.
All right. In October of 2021, Verge reported on a newly discovered 5-year-long hack described by John as one of the biggest breaches in the world, to which I responded with the prediction that we would never hear another word about this company. In May of 2021, Cineverse, a back-end SMS bridge provider, revealed that it became aware of an unauthorized access to its operation going back as far as May of 2016. At the time, you both seemed to be arguing that the story should dominate the number 1 spot. With the benefit of hindsight, what say you now?
Oh, that's insane, because I hadn't thought about it since that episode.
Yeah.
So your prediction was 100% on.
Yeah.
And it's still, now that I'm reminded of it, I'm kind of ashamed that I forgot.
How do we not predict that Mike would pick the ones out that would make him look good? I mean, sorry.
Of course. Well, it is.
I was on board with the Twitch one. I was right there with John on Twitch.
All right.
But this is such... It was, and I, if I recall correctly, they were able to read all text messages. Mm-hmm. It was truly...
That's right.
And you now have, it's either the number 1 or the number 2 story on the list.
Oh, for sure. So. No. And I still commit. I would have actually, just because I know that I feel like a juicy story is coming, I'd probably say number 2. But it's safe to even put that as number 1, even though it hasn't been talked about with.
He might be picking out something like, these 10 people's credit card details were breached. We did a little story on. There was a T-Mobile one, I think.
Yeah, he might play us on the last one for sure.
But okay, I think I'm with you, John. I still think this is significant.
Oh my god, it was so big.
Really?
Yeah. In terms of press coverage, okay, we haven't heard about it, but it was really bad, really really bad.
So you're going number 1 with the Cineverse story.
I mean, the only thing that could top Cineverse, it would be the pipeline breach, or the what was the pay software.
So don't get ahead of yourself. I will mention that I had actually identified Colonial Pipeline as kind of an honorable mention, but then ended up not even making the list.
Sure.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I do have a couple other honorable mention ones. So the only spot you have open left is the number 2 spot.
Wait, no. Sorry.
Well, we actually didn't commit to.
I thought you committed to Cineverse. All right.
Yeah, no.
So what's the final answer?
I mean, Peter, let's just send it. Let's just do number 2.
Okay, I'd say 2. Let's give us room to be
Let's give us some room to be really dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. You asked for it.
Please, for the final spin of the wheel.
In October of 2021, the Missouri Department of Education website was hacked by journalist Josh Renaud, reporter for the Register.
Of course we got played.
No, I have this one marked as a bonus freebie, so I'm not actually going to hold this one against you. I just thought it would be fun to fit in.
We need to talk about that one.
Story where
bring that back.
Governor Mike Parson, Republican, said that the state would investigate and explore legal options and claimed that the incident might cost Missouri taxpayers as much as $50 million. This is a journalist hitting F12 on the old keyboard and viewing source. Cole County prosecutor.
No, you're misremembering.
Oh, that's right.
F12 saw some base 64 encoded strings, decoded the strings, and realized they're fucking SSNs.
Improper use of improper access of a computer. And this is our number 1 breach story since we've been doing the show, thanks to John and Peter's ranking.
But if we on the pity scale, 100% this is a number 1. The governor wouldn't let down too. He kept doubling.
And actually, I did say the criteria is just the best story.
Sure.
And that is a pretty good story.
That's a pretty good story.
You could maybe make the argument for it to actually be number 1.
If we're talking about irony, that it was a journalist reporting on the breach after submitting the report and it's actually kind of a saga. And then it did end up, I believe, working out for the guy in the end.
Yeah.
It was one of the most enjoyable stories to talk about.
It was an enjoyable story because I believe, I'll have to go back and read, but I do think it had a happy ending, which is rare.
But I did just bring that in as kind of an honorable mention. It was already marked in my notes. I'm not messing with you guys. The one other story before I give you what's gonna now by default be your number one story, which I think you're actually going to be happy with. Here's the other honorable mention, again, not in the official list, the Kaseya hack. On July 2nd of 2021, Huntress Labs posted on Reddit about an ongoing ransomware incident affecting the RMM provider. It took about a month for them to get things back on track following the breach, during which time they managed to acquire the decryption key from the hacker collective R Evil. That was a pretty big story.
Yeah. I think, again, the only thing that tops Kaseya and all of them is I fucking don't remember the name.
So on December 28th of 2021, in a fit of breach fatigue, I opened one of our, at the time, most viewed episodes by mocking those affected by a payroll system breach covering thousands of healthcare employees across the U.S. It had just been reported that payroll provider Kronos, the name you're looking for, John, had been the victim of a ransomware attack and was unable to pay employees of their customers. It took months to resolve the interruption fully, and litigation may still be going on today. And it sounds like we are all in agreement that that actually is the number one story, breach story, that we have covered on the show.
So terrible. And we had to keep coming back to it because they
so
couldn't
many times
solve it.
Yeah.
It took forever.
Months and months. It was going on. And real people's paychecks were affected.
We kept getting comments of people saying, I have not been paid. It's been 30 days.
Crazy.
I still haven't been paid.
It was crazy.
Yeah. I doubt until that moment, many of those people knew what software was handling their payroll.
Right.
Until it broke.
It was nuts. So final list. And to people watching at home, leave a comment whether you agree with this list or you think this is totally off. If we missed a story that should definitely have been here, let us know what your rankings are. But in order, the Kronos breach, and this is the one that probably surprises me most, the Cineverse breach. And you guys were even on the fence about putting that in number 2. I'm shocked by that. LastPass and T-Mobile I thought was actually going to be higher. And then the 5th place story, Twitch, which I agree with the placement on that one. Although, again, like a good story. So between Twitch and the Missouri Department of Education, like there's an argument to be made there.
But we do have to remember that this is the top 5, right? You did obviously cherry pick a little bit.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
This is when you're really putting it on the board. These are some super significant breaches. There are, of course, other breaches that we haven't talked about because we're too young of a channel, like the PlayStation, the Sony hack. I mean, there's a lot of really good breaches out there. But like in terms of the last
source
3 years,
code,
2 years,
like there were tons of stories that I went through.
There were so many good ones, and I mean, to encapsulate 5 solid stories.
Good.
Yeah, those are fucking good.
There. Like.
I mean, good because of not obviously it's not good, right? But it's like it's new. It's not for another ransomware attack or whatever.
For investigative reporters such as ourselves, these kind of stories do have a certain attraction. I think is perhaps what you're.
We got some juice, some meat on the bones, you know.
Yeah,
we're just a few dogs hungry.
This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And like and subscribe to the video. Let us know in the comments where you think we got it right, where you think we got it wrong. I would definitely want to do this again with you guys. This was a lot of fun.